Driving a vehicle without a tachometer has always felt kind of like driving blind to me, especially a manual transmission. I have no idea what my idle RPMs are. I have no idea what RPMs I'm shifting at. I have no idea what my RPMs are when I'm cruising down the freeway. So this always felt a little odd to me. And adding an aftermarket tachometer to a car, well, that can seem pretty daunting to a lot of people. Wiring one in and knowing how to do it correctly and making sure you don't screw nothing up is definitely going to be something most people may be unwilling to tackle. And then also the last question is, where in the earth do you place one of these things in here that's both functional and not just looking stupid? So I'm going to give you a solution to both today on your B2200. This is a 1988 model. Believe me when I tell you, this on a difficulty scale of 1 to 10 is about a 2. Okay, wiring this in is incredibly easy. I'm going to show you every connection on this vehicle today. Really simple. And I'm going to also show you where I mounted a small tachometer that works perfectly for your vision. Does not block any of your current gauges. Okay, so the only other option is to buy a used original instrument cluster that had a tachometer in it, and we're talking $150 to $200 for a 40-year-old part that may or may not work. Well, that's just not a solution for me. Okay, but if $50 is more in your line of your pocketbook can handle, then we can add a tach very tastefully to your B2200. It works well and does all those things you need it to. This is not intended to be some super precise drag racing tach, but this whole time I'm showing the camera angle, you probably can't hardly see it. Okay, I didn't want it to be that noticeable, but I did want the function to be where I could see it. So let me just sit down in the car and show you. Okay, and there it is right there. I've had this in here for probably at least 8 or 10 years at least, and it's never failed. It's always functioned perfectly. As you can see in my line of sight, I can easily see the tachometer, and none of my gauges are blocked. Okay, none of them. Even my high beam indicator is visible. The only thing that's blocked is where it says temp. Okay, I think you can figure that out. And all I did to mount this was this outer trim piece over here. As you can see, these are normally used to mount to a round steering wheel. Well, there's no round steering wheel in this vehicle, so what I did is I mounted it to here. I drilled one simple hole through here to mount that screw with a nut and a washer on the bottom side of this panel. Okay, 4 screws. There's 2 on the top, 2 in the bottom of this panel. You take the whole thing off to fit, to make your hole and to fit your gauge. The hardest part will be undoing the wiring connector. I don't know why it's so hard to get that thing loose from the back of your dimmer, but it's hard to get loose. But 4 screws, this whole piece comes off, and you can mount the hole just like I have it. See, I have it basically as far over as I can go to the right without going up the curvature on the right. And I have to have it pretty far mounted to the outside as well. Okay, see? Because otherwise you're not going to have room for your wiring is going to hit the glass of your instrument cluster. And once you have this mounted, okay, put this panel back in place, take your wiring and push it in between the 2 panels and route it down to here. Okay, bring all 4 wires are going to be connected to your tachometer. Bring them all right here. I'm going to take off this panel right here, and I'm going to show you 3 of the connections, and the 4th connection will be in the engine compartment. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way real quick. I'm going to come right back. I'm going to show you 2 connections in here, and I pulled 1 connection off the fuse panel. Okay, come right back. Okay, just have the radio panel pulled up and out of the way, and there's going to be 4 wires that come off of that tachometer. Okay, Two of those wires I have going here to these harnesses. One of them is the black wire, which is ground. You can see it just have that terminal on the end, and I have it screwed through the support piece for my radio. Okay, this is my ground. The other wire is this white wire. Okay, this white wire is for illumination. There's a light that turns on when you turn your lights on. So the light will come on inside that tachometer. Now this is this factory wiring harness that goes to your factory radio. The red wire is the 12 volt switched source that goes to your radio. The orange wire is illumination on and off. This does not go through your dimmer. Okay, you really don't need it on that tachometer. It's not very bright. You don't really need to have a dimmer. So this is where I tied the white wire to. I also need a 12 volt switch source for the tachometer. I could connect that directly to this same 12 volt switch source I have the radio to. I didn't want to. I was afraid of the tachometer causing interference, maybe noise in the radio. So the red wire that's coming from your tachometer, I'm going to show you where I connected that to. Okay. Now we're going to open the fuse panel here. And there's my red wire. Okay. And you can see I have that plugged into what should be the defroster circuit. Well, I don't have a defogger on this vehicle, and you can tell what I've done. I've added a spade terminal to the end, and I've connected to the top side of where this fuse would normally go. Okay, the top side is the side that turns on when you turn the key on. So this is not on right now because the key is off. This will turn on and off with the ignition key, all right, which is what we need. The last wire of the four, okay, we have the 12 volts positive, we have the ground, we have the wire for our illumination. The last wire we have is the green wire, which is our signal wire. And this is where most people are not going to know where to hook it up, and I'm telling you, this is as incredibly easy as it gets. All you're going to have to do is you may have to hook a jumper wire to the green wire to make it longer. But we're going to extend the green wire. We're going to come up, and we're going to go out the firewall and up to the front of the engine bay by the radiator, and we're going to connect onto the distributor, into the coil, okay? I'm going to open the hood, and I'm going to show you where to make that last connection, and you're almost ready to have a working tach. Okay, so I'm in the engine bay, and right here you're going to see that green wire that I just pushed through this spare rubber grommet that's down there, okay? I'm not sure what that's even for, but I think I made a tiny hole in it, and I pushed my wire through it, okay? And then follow that wire. I just routed it along with my regular wiring harness, and I got to here and I ran out of wire. Okay, it wasn't long enough to reach, so I had to put a butt connector on it and add a piece of wire, and I was only a few inches away. And right here is where you're going to connect that wire. You know, these yellow connect side with the yellow wires on your coil, ignition coil. You're going to have this blank plug that's here. And basically, this is for testing using a tachometer here in the engine bay. And all you're going to do is connect what should have been the green wire, if it was just long enough, to this connector. And that's it. The last connection you got to make. Crank your car up and enjoy your working tach. Seriously, very, very simple job, guys. So, hope this helps everybody out, knowing how you can mount one conveniently. It doesn't disturb your vision of any of your other instruments, and also how really, really easy it is to wire one of these things up. I've had this, like I said, for probably close to a decade, and I just absolutely love mine. So, hope everybody appreciate it. Check y'all out next time.